and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we're back, and it's 1 week closer to my birthday. My birthday's in 1 week. I don't even know what I'm doing for my birthday.
I'm having a colonoscopy for your birthday.
TMI,
On
Beth.
Saturday?
TMI, Beth. TMI.
It's on Friday.
Oh.
Your birthday's on Saturday.
Nice. Wow. Oh, well. I guess I'm going first.
Sure.
I'll go first. So I got a lot to talk about. Let's see. Oh, knitting class happened on Thursday.
I was going to ask you. Yeah,
I had my knitting class. Here's what we made. Did I show this last week? It wasn't. Almost done.
It was just a square last week.
Yeah. So I sewed it up here. I sewed from this cuff to here, and then I actually wove the tail along the thumb line, the thumb buttonhole kind of thing, and then I sewed the rest of the hand together. And it made a nice wrist warmer. So this was my sample. And in class there's 5 people interested. Only 2 brought supplies because I bought them their supplies. Because everyone else was like, I forgot. Anyway, and then another friend of mine just came and observed, but actually she really picked up a lot. And one of my friends shared her yarn with her, so she was able to try some stuff like casting on and stuff. And so we cast on, and I taught them how to knit a couple of rows. And I have 2 other people that are interested, but need to come, have other lessons later. But anyway, so that was off to a good start. And my one friend who was there was like, I've been practicing. And she's actually leaving before the next class, next Thursday. She's leaving to go to Ireland to see her grandparents. And she calls her granny, knits. So it's like, oh, cool. She'll be able to supervise you, and and if you wind up finishing the length, she can help you cast off. I told her. So, but yeah, so she's leaving, and the other person who was supposed to be in class who couldn't make it is also leaving town. So it's going to be sporadic, but it was fun. It was fun just getting them started. So that's my work project. I've been working on Jordan's sleeve, and I'm to the point now where I'm doing decreases. So I made it all the way to the elbow. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So
I like those colors.
This is her puffy sleeve. And I kept track by tens of the rows here. And now I'm on the decreasing. So I'm going to decrease a little bit till almost the normal sleeve width, and then go up and join it and do a little bit more decreasing once I join it to the rest of the sweater. So there's that. I've been trying to be steadily working on that. And what I forgot to talk about last weekend, probably because we recorded on Friday instead of Saturday, was that Tour de Fleece started last weekend on the 1st of July, really. And on Sunday, I went to Tempe Yarn and Fiber, and they had a kickoff for it, and it's real easy this year. Like the challenges and everything are really easy. So what Tour de Fleece is, it's a spinning challenge that parallels the Tour de France. And in some cities, they're like super serious. Like they have teams, and you calculate all the yardage that you do. And
do they have doping?
I don't know. Yeah, probably. If whoever spins the most, wins and that kind of thing. But here we take it real easy. So basically, we showed up. We got. Oh, I meant to bring my. Oh, maybe it's in here. My paperwork. Oh, sorry. Is it in here? No. I guess I didn't bring it with me. We got like an information sheet of like what our goals are this year. And for me, I just wrote down I want to spin every day again, and because I've been really out of practice with it. And then we each got a challenge. We spun a wheel for a challenge. And so the challenge I got was to spin something new, which could mean anything. So I bought this.
I don't know what that was for. This is a new
braid, yeah. So this is merino, 100% merino wool, dyed by the owner of Tempe Yarn and Fiber. She goes by Spin Fiber on Instagram. Her name is Terry, and she does such beautiful dyeing work, and I like this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the Eve's favorite teal hair and dark green, kind of blues, yellows. Really, really pretty. I'm hoping to keep the colors more defined instead of letting them turn to mud like I usually do when I spin. So anyway, this will be my spin something new. I haven't started yet because I'm working on this. Here's a picture. This is halfway through a 6-ounce bump of what's called mystery mix from the yarn mill up in Prescott, Arizona, and they basically take all their ends. So it's a mix of alpaca and wool and all different kinds of colors and whatever has come through the mill. They save their ends that can't make a full 4 ounces, and they put them together, and so it's a big mix of everything. It's really nice, and I really like it. So I'm almost done with spinning the single, and then I think I'm going to chain ply it. So once I get that finished, then I will spin this, hopefully. And the next time we meet officially is just at the end, which is the 23rd of July. So it'll be pretty easy. I have time. And I have been, so far, spinning every day. And, you know, I have that shawl that I'm making for Hannah's violin teacher. So that's also in the back burner of my mind. And then Casapinka is coming out with her yearly mystery knit-along. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it this year. I've got to finish Jordan's sweater, and I've got to blah, 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 blah. And then I'm watching on Facebook, and I'm like...
Having FOMO?
And it's just 4 colors of yarn, and it doesn't have to be any particular thing. It doesn't have to have high contrast or anything. So I was like... I'm pretty sure if I go to Mark right now and say, can I spend $100 on yarn, please? He'd be like, no. You just bought a sock machine. It's coming in August. No. So, you know, I mean, I don't mean to make him sound like an ogre. He is quite indulgent with me. But I looked in my stash, and I have these.
Oh.
This was for a Casapinka poncho that it was her Knit Stars Season 6 project, which I bought the yarn for, and I never made it, as is my way. I still have the pattern and the video, which is mine forever. So I'm like, maybe I'll use this. I don't know. She says it's a whole new shape, and here, I'll put the colors this way so you can really see them instead of the labels. She says it's a whole new shape and something different.
Is that 3 colors or 4?
This is only 3.
Oh.
So I need to buy just 1. So I'm thinking, I think I'm going to go with a black to kind of just darken it up so it's not quite so crazy. I think black would go well with each of these colors. So I think I'm going to get a black, and that'll be my colorway. And it starts July 21. So I'm like I finished Share and Air, and that was a lot of fun. And last year, even though it got totally put aside when Dad got so sick, but I finished it before the end of the year, so I figured it's all going to be okay. And if I don't finish it, I mean, I still have snarkle meter on the needles. It's nothing new to me. So anyway, I'm just like, I don't want to miss out. So I'm going to jump into this is Casapinka and Sharon from Security's Mystery Knit Along this summer, starting July 21st. You can look that up if you're interested. And I thought briefly about this skein of yarn, but I don't think it goes. It's too blue. This is the one I bought in anticipation of when I finally learn how to make socks. I'm going to make myself these nice socks. So I'm still going to save that for socks. So I'm not going to put it in the knit along, but I just brought it. And the other thing I have here, Eli came with me. Oh, so my students were like, can I Venmo you money if you buy my supplies for class? And I was like, yes. So there were 2 of them. So Eli was with me at Joann's, and I just bought some simple yarns for them and needles and stuff. And so he was like, "Do you think I can knit, Mom?" He's always wanting. He's like, "I remember that hat I was making," and he only has to use it one hand. So we're always trying to find stuff for him to do, and he's very interested in doing stuff, fiber arts wise. So I'm just trying to always find something for him. But we passed by this. This is that finger knitting yarn. It's just got loops. And I've looked up how you do it. I think he might be able to do it. You like lay it out, and if I pinned it down, actually, he might be able to do it. You lay it out against each other, and you take a loop from this side. Like you do it this way, and you loop them together, and then you keep going up like that. It's hard to explain, but you can look it up. This is called Blanket EZ stripes, and so it's brown and white, and usually it'll take like, I don't know what it says, like 7 of these giant skeins to make any kind of blanket for real. But I just got him one. It was on clearance. It's not the best color, as you can see, but I was like, let's just try it, and if you like it, it can be a blanket for the cats or something, and then you find something you like. So that's a new project that I'm gonna just give him. He's like happy to have something to do that's not electronic. So that is pretty much me. That's all I'm doing. Next week, yeah. Hopefully I'll have more. I'm hoping to finish that yarn that I'm spinning this week. So, but anyway, that's me. I'm done. Who's going next?
I'll go next. So I can talk about the needle minders, and I only have 2 projects now anyway. Let me get this out of the way. One of the things I did was I made needle minders, and these are not yet on the Etsy shop, but you'll see them soon. So we talked about the problems that we had with the little, you can't see them from here, but we'll have pictures, with the little flying eagles, because they're balanced wrong to make scissor fobs out of. They end up hanging sideways or whatever. So we thought they'd make good needle minders. And there's just enough room back here to put a magnet on there. But they came out really nice. So you can use these. So there's 2 of these. And then I just made some, Eve bought the charms for the lemon bags and the citrus bag, which I've already sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the citrus bag already sold. But so there was a whole bunch of charms left over, and
cucumbers.
Yeah, so I just took a couple of them. Actually, this is all the magnets that I had. I used up all my magnets. But so there's a couple of apple slices. There's one strawberry slice and a watermelon wedge. Sorry. They snapped together. And there's a lemon. We had a lemon in the Etsy shop, and it's sold already, so we had to replace it. And this looks like a grapefruit to me.
I think that's a grapefruit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then some cucumber slices. So, yeah. So I spent part of the time making, the other day I made needle minders. And then, of all my projects for July, I started with the cross-stitch camp project, and this is Noah's Christmas Ark 3. So she did a series of these, and there's 2 animals for each of these little. They're basically like ornaments, and each one is 58 by 48, so they're not very big.
Can you put them back to back on an ornament?
You could. Or you could do them all in one, like, if you want to do all 12 of them or whatever. Or you can do them individually. So, I'm doing whales. This is whales and squirrels as these 2 animals. And I'm doing the whales, and so far almost done with the whales themselves. There's some seaweed and little flowers on the seaweed, and so I have to do the center of the flowers, and then you do just like lines of this one color for the water, and then at the top there's like some wave colors, whatever, and then there's some little snowflakes that are to make it Christmassy, I guess. But the problem for me was finding the colors. These are all Weeks Dye Works colors, and I had all of them except parchment. I had a little bit of, and gunmetal. I couldn't find if I have it. I thought I had it because the name sounds very familiar, but if I have it, it's in some project somewhere. So, but once upon a time, I guess I must have done a kit with Weeks colors, and what I had left over, I ended up making these little thread drops for myself, just out of some like 3x5 cards I had, and so I have a handful of these, and I have like I bought real skeins of it of various colors, but this one is parchment, and if I have a skein of this, I don't know where it is. So this is all the thread I have left. And so what I'm thinking is, and I have some that's on the needle here, but what I'm hoping is I can finish the whale, the second whale, and then if I want to buy another skein from the attic, but in case the dye lot is a little different, if I finish the 2 whales, then the variation of a different dye lot or whatever wouldn't matter as much, because all that would be left would be the little snowflakes, and then in this border in between the little grape color squares are parchment squares. So but if I can finish the whales, if I have enough to finish the whales, then the other variation of color that there might be won't matter as much. And then my other project, this is one of my WIP-GO projects for July, is the blue whale. It's a DMC kit, and this is the one I talked about that had the weird, doesn't have a 4th leg. So
The blue whale?
yeah.
Isn't that an elephant?
I mean, that's elephant. Did I say whale? Elephant. I got whale in my brain. Elephant.
It's like, I thought that was an elephant.
No wonder it doesn't have a 3rd leg.
Those don't have legs.
They have 3 legs, Eve.
So this is the famous.
I just found the title for our episode.
This is the famous 3-legged elephant that has a weird umbilical cord. This picture, because it doesn't have a 4th leg, and on the chart it doesn't have a 4th leg. And this is the one that there's some weird differences between this
In the
finished
chart,
model.
did it have a little piece of a leg?
No, the chart has nothing. Just this little thing on the stomach, which is the beginning of the leg, I would imagine. But they didn't finish doing the leg, so I just copied.
Somebody somewhere is like, "Didn't you proofread that?" I thought I did.
So I
That's my job right now.
Yeah. So I created a leg there on the chart, and then also on the chart, like here in the picture, they made an eye for this elephant, like with white, and then they backstitched around it and gave it eyelashes and and a little line through the middle of the eye like a pupil and all that. And that's not on the chart either. On the chart, it just has a little, like, what do you call it? Not crescent.
Asterisk?
No, like a, what do you call that? That thing.
Greater than or less than symbol?
Yeah, there's a little, and like the elephant has.
It looks like in music you'd call it an accent.
Yeah. But so like in the picture, like I said, that weird eye they made up, and then like on the trunk there's like a couple of little backstitch lines, and they're not on the chart either. So it's like I I don't know what was going on. Somebody was asleep at the wheel or something and just making up stuff, and I don't know what they were doing. Between the model stitcher and the person who charted it, there was some miscommunication apparently. But so I made a fourth leg. So
This is what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened. The person who's stitching it realized there was no leg, and they're like, "There's no leg. Well, just put a leg in." Okay, so then I'm stitching, and I only get this part done, and they're like, "Are you done yet? We have to take that picture now and get this out now because it's got to be published yesterday." Okay, but there's no leg. I don't care. Click. That's what happens in marketing.
And she made it the eye too.
Yeah. I spent all my time on the eye, so I didn't get the leg in.
It's so funny to look at. It's like, oh. Well, and the other day I bought one of a cat, a very colorful cat, and I'm wondering what I'm going to find when I go to stitch it eventually.
Wow.
But anyway, so this came with the white Ada, and I dyed it myself. And I kind of wish I had gone a little lighter because the elephant doesn't stick out as much as I wish it did. But maybe I'll back stitch around it with it since it's all made up anyway.
Yeah.
But I did make a fourth leg, so now he looks like a normal elephant. So
he won't go like this when he walks.
So he won't tip over. So I'm right now. I just finished putting his little toenails on the bottom of his foot, and then I'm gonna do the fourth leg. And so I'm hoping that so today is the fourth day of 6. So I don't know if I'm very diligent, I might be able to finish it or almost finish it before, in the 6 days that I'm working on it for WIP-GO. And that's all I've been doing because I spent the 4 days working on this, and decided on the 5th of July to start on the elephant. So.
Oh, can I interject real quick, Eve, before you start?
No.
Do you remember when I talked about WIP-GO for July, and one of them was the mittens from Mary Lou?
Mm-hmm.
I think I found a pattern.
Oh.
I'll put a picture of it here. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. It's just a slip. It's like a 2-color. Anyway, it's real cute. I'll put a picture here. I can't remember what it's called, but you'll see it. Because I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to, because I think I finally found a mitten. And it's got a matching hat, and I was like, ooh, maybe he would like these. Anyway, so that's that.
Okay, so I am...
Speaking of pattern errors.
Well, that was my thing to talk about. I am working right now on my cross-stitch camp piece. It's Chesapeake Bay Treasures number 5, Seahorses by Ardith Design. I don't know. Okay, so it's very small. It's 59 by 64. It's a 2-color pattern. I bought both the colors, and I can look at the picture. So I didn't really pay attention to the color key. I just happened to notice earlier today when I was working on it, the color key is backwards. So according to the color key, I should be making, where these brown lines are, I should be making those teal, and I should be making the seaweed brown. There are some kelps that are kind of brownish in color, but I'd rather have green like the picture. So the color key has the symbols backwards. But it's a cute little design of a little seahorse. Actually, it's got 3 seahorses.
Oh,
Here and here.
Boxes.
Yeah.
Can I see? Can I see the pattern? Sorry.
So I didn't get as much stitching done this week as I had hoped because I really was very uncomfortable when I would sit down to stitch. I was uncomfortable with the lighting. I was uncomfortable with the chair I was sitting in, so. And it's just because it wasn't what I was used to.
And you're at that man's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on. And my WIP-GO project, the third one that's in the middle, is working on my own design. So I worked on that some.
Nice.
And I have the green ball.
Oh.
I have more of it done.
It's pretty.
I would have even more done if I had all the colors with me.
Oh, no.
One of the days that I was here, I real quick looked for a couple of the other colors and I snagged them. But by that time I was like, I'm over it. So I worked on it a little bit, but I have more days that I need to do on that. But, excuse me, I don't know why my throat sounds like this. So I'm still plugging away at that. And then, one of my WIP-GO things is also, I have this upside down, spring bookmarks, and I'm working on this middle one. And I have...
Looks very different on that purple fabric. It's cool.
Yeah, I
From the
like
picture.
it.
Yeah.
I think the flowers stand out better.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished the top white flower. I have not gotten up to this little bud up here, but I started. One of the two colors that I found was the green, that was for these leaves. So I started putting in that second color of leaves. So I'm getting more done on it. I did not work on it every day that I was over there. So I have to work on it for 10 days, and today is the 10th, but it certainly hasn't been 10 days. So I still have some more time to work on it.
Today's not the 10th.
Today's the 8th.
Oh yeah, almost the 10th.
You missed 2 days.
I barely
It's been a
know
time warp.
what time of day it is. Except I had to watch the clock very carefully.
You could stop partying before they came home.
No,
Kick all your guests out.
when you're taking somebody with taking care of somebody with memory issues, you want to have things
Yeah.
as routine and at the same time as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I was doing that, and then the temperature chart.
Oh, yeah.
Sapphire Mountains 2023 temperature SAL.
Look at all that mild red in the middle in that sample.
Well, they have a couple of days that are hot, but remember that I adjusted.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my gosh.
we've got 3 dark red colors
Los
going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Dios de Diablos. Let me see.
So the one that's very dark,
Yeah.
those are the days when it was 115 for 2 days, and we had 2 days that were 113.
Mm-hmm.
One day that was 111, and then it got chilly to 108.
But I heard that heat wave's coming. It could get as high as 120.
Yeah, are we surprised?
No, but
Because when it's cool in June, isn't it always hot like that in
I
July?
know.
Yeah, I know. So that week it'll be that dark red the whole time.
Do you go higher? Do you have something for 120? No.
I have 115 and up.
Oh no. Yeah.
To
So
make it purple.
if it gets up to 120, I think I should figure out another
You should
color.
do another color. Like something completely crazy. Like white hot.
So that wasn't. I hit it with the passion of a thousand burning suns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is everything that I have been marginally working on.
Well, segue into heat. It was, well, even last Saturday when I came here to record, was it? No. What day would I come here? It was a Friday evening.
Uh-huh.
And stupidly, that's right, because you had to go to work on Saturday. Stupidly, I parked facing west on your street at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever time it was.
Uh-huh.
No, it was in the afternoon. I came over
It was
like
early
3,
evening.
right? But then by the time we were done, it was like close to 5.
Yeah.
And my car is sitting there right into the sun. Forgot to put up the shade. It was so incredibly hot. I could not believe.
Were you able to touch the steering wheel?
No. It was awful.
Did you give yourself a brand when you put on your seatbelt?
Yes. Yes. I'm like, oh no, we're in the thick of it now. We've been spoiled by this mild June.
So, because I was over there taking care of this gentleman, I almost never went out. And if I did, it was early in the morning to come over here and, give the dog her medicine or what have you.
Little dog.
And so it wasn't hot yet, you know. It was warm,
Right.
but it wasn't hot. So I spent the week with a sweater and a blanket.
That's how we are inside.
Because the air conditioner kept coming on, and where their couch is where I would sit was like right underneath
Yeah.
the vent. And I was so cold. I was like, I'm freezing. And then today when I packed up everything, I packed up the sweater and the blanket, and I'm sitting there going, I'm so cold. I'm so cold. Yeah, but I really like taking care of this
That's
man.
nice.
And his family's nice. And so, yeah. And it gives them respite,
Yeah.
which is very, very important.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So this week, one night, I hear crash bang. And I'm like, the cats are doing something, of course. That's what that means in my house, is cats are doing something. And I go over to where they are, and they're doing that little thing where they're like, both of them, little heads down. And I'm like, oh, they have a bug. I'm like, what you got? And if I came close, one of them, like, Hobbs grabbed it and ran away. And then they stopped, and I could see him put it down. And then they're like this. And then Calvin grabbed it and ran away as I was trying to, like, what is that? And finally, they get into the middle of the dining room floor, and they drop it again. And they're looking at it. And I look, and it's not a bug. It's a little tail, dismembered from a lizard, just wiggling on the floor. And I'm like, Mark, this is your job. I'm sorry, but dealing with that kind of stuff, that's on the that's on the Y chromosome.
So, I guess about a week ago or so, I went around the back of my car and there was a dead bird there. Missing the whole top, like from here.
Oh.
I was like looking at cavities of the bird, and I was like, oh, I need to have Robert, because if I backed up, I would have run right over it. I was like, I'm going to have Robert come and dispose of this. But I forgot, and it wasn't there anymore, right? So Thursday or Friday, before I went to that man's house, I went, I don't remember why I went around the back of the car. No, I was coming from somewhere, and I was going to go park, and I'm like, what is in the driveway?
Oh, no.
And it was this beautiful, big, full-bodied bird, dead.
Oh.
It was just all like this.
Oh.
And I was like, oh. So I parked on the side of the road, and I went and got something and picked it up.
Yeah.
And I put it in the garbage. I was so sad. We have, the lady where I was staying with the gentleman, she said, oh, I forgot to tell you to park on the other side of the driveway so the sprinklers won't get your car. Mm-hmm. And I said, I have birds dive bombing my car. Sprinklers are the least of my problems. because we have a lot of birds here.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I pulled up today, because I came home today, when I pulled up today, there was a family of quail running across the road. And I love this. And you can hear them chirping and, the dog barking at them. And we have a lot of birds here. And I know that birds poop on everything, and a lot of people find them a nuisance.
They
but
poop
not
on
me.
my car. They don't poop on everything. They've come and find my car.
In my car. But I think they give you so much more.
I love birdies.
Yeah, they're worth having around, especially wild birds. I think,
Yeah.
because you walk out your door and there's that, dove up in the tree, singing his little heart out, or
The mockingbirds.
the
and
mockingbirds, or there's the woodpecker. I don't think he lives here anymore,
stuff. Aw.
because we used to walk out and he'd be,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a woodpecker that sometimes gets on one of our across the street neighbors' chimney, and the metal.
Oh.
And but also in Arizona we have a lot of lovebirds, peach-faced, rosy-faced, rosy-cheeked. I think that's what it's called, lovebirds, and it's the only other area besides Africa or South America or wherever they're from that they exist in the wild, because I guess they're escapees, and because of the climate they do really well here. So you can always hear them. They sound like parrots, screeching, and they're so beautiful. They're green, and then when they fly, their tails are blue. It's so pretty. I love, and I can always they just hang out in the trees, and they flock together, and sometimes they'll come into the backyard, and you can just hear them, squawking up in the trees. So pretty. I love them.
I don't know if you guys remember, but when I was young, elementary school, early elementary school, I think, Mom and Dad gave me a book, and it had all these pictures of birds in it, and it came with a 45.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
Plastic.
Yeah.
45, okay, you guys.
But it wasn't a 40. Wasn't it? Or was it an actual 45? Because some of those books came with a piece of plastic
No, it was a 45.
that had.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And so I'd put it in the
I used to play that.
and
they
it
had me
would
down.
it would put the sound and then tell you what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Bird
used to
calls.
listen to it
Yeah,
constantly
love
because
that.
it was so fascinating to me.
Yeah, there's an app called iBird Pro. And you can get it for free, but if you get a paid version, you can download the database basically onto your phone. And what it is a huge database of birds, and it has it listed alphabetically by name of bird, but there's a huge search engine, so you could search for something by shape, by color, like you can tell it's mostly orange and black, or and then it has this kind of shape to it, and it sound and I live in this area, and it'll kind of give you options of what that bird is. It's really cool. And if you go onto the file of the bird, it gives you the region it lives in. It has like really nice illustrations, and then it has photographs, and then it has a whole page on songs, and it has like juvenile songs, female, male, like, so you can go down and listen to the actual songs of it, and it tells you be careful when you play them, that there's not predators. There are predators around, because if you attract the bird with the song on your phone, because it's actual recordings, of course, you could be putting them in danger or whatever. But I love that app. I use it a lot. It's called iBird Pro. If anybody's
That's the
interested.
thing about that bird that I found in the driveway. I had to wonder if maybe he died from the heat,
Yeah.
because heat is very hard on them.
Yeah.
Because he didn't look
Could
like
just be
anything
old
was wrong.
age.
He didn't
Yeah.
look like anything was wrong with him, and he
Oh,
looked
but the
pretty healthy.
lizard. To go back to the lizard. So I figured, here's a tail in my house. There must also be a lizard somewhere. And I had seen when I went over first to see, what are you doing? Yeah. I see Hobbs kind of half go under the couch, And then when I figured out it was a tail, I thought, oh, he was going after the lizard itself. So after Mark got the tail, he's like, that's gross. I'm like, I know, that's why I made you do it. And so I'm like, well, the rest of the lizard's probably under this couch. So I go, and Eli's blanket was kind of over the couch and onto the floor. So I picked it up, and sure enough, there on my carpet was the rest of the lizard. And he looked like one arm was kind of like that, like kind of off. And I was like, Mark, here's the rest of the lizard.
I used to find...
And he's like, is he dead? I'm like, I don't know, but he may as well be. He doesn't look good. He's trying to run away.
I used to find, cockroaches at my apartment.
Dismembered.
Because I my apartment balcony was just above where the dumpster was, so they would get into our building, and once in a while we had an exterminator, so they were not there all that often, but so once in a while they would get in, and I'd wake up in the morning and find an upside down cockroach with his legs torn off or something, where the cats had been hunting.
Every summer we get visitors, and I had just told Mark the other day, I was like, I haven't seen your favorite creatures around this year yet.
Oh, those bugs.
It's called a Palo Verde borer. A Palo Verde is a type of tree here. Palo meaning stick, verde meaning green. And they are actually, the bark is green on these trees, and they grow everywhere, and they're used in landscaping a lot. But these beetles are... I have actual photos. I'll put one here. Sorry. Content warning. It's a big bug. 3 inches long.
They're scary bugs.
They're not scary.
They're scary
They're
bugs.
big. They're not scary. They don't do anything. They don't come after you. They don't bite. They don't even eat. When they're in this stage, they're just out looking for love, and then they're going to die. And what they do is they burrow. The females burrow down and lay their eggs down. After they mate, they lay their eggs underground, and then they die. And then those suckers, those little guys, eat the roots of your Palo Verde. So if you have an infestation, if you have a lot of them, your trees can become unstable. But, okay, so
But that's
Mark,
not, Palo Verdes, their branches fall off if the wind blows just a little bit.
Yeah, they're yeah. So there it is what it is. But Mark loves those. He has held them in his hand. He will come if there's a whole bunch of them on the driveway. He'll kind of shoo them off the driveway so they don't get run over. And so he just thinks they're cool. He's fascinated by them, and I think they're interesting. I've always kind of liked bugs at a distance, but he'll actually hold them in his hand. So I'm like, I haven't seen them this year. I wonder why. And actually one year we had a pipe burst in our yard, or actually they had a blockage, so they had to dig down and fix it in the yard, and they put the vents in so then they don't have to do that anymore. But when they did that, it was right past our Palo Verde, and in the dirt that they had excavated, there was a big larva. It was as big as your palm. It was huge, big, fat. What is it they say in Lion King? What is it? Slimy but satisfying. It was those kind of big old larvae. But anyway, so I haven't seen them this year. And actually, I always thought they came in June. But actually, right after I said, I haven't seen them, Mark, I started getting Facebook memories of them showing up in July. So I was like, oh. But anyway, a couple nights ago, I was pulling into the driveway like this, and all three of us were in the car, actually. And I turned in the driveway, and the headlights hit the Palo Verde. And this is the only bug you can see from your car. That is how big they are. And I could see in the rocks. And I'm like, hey, Mark, check it out. Your friends are back. So he gets out of the car, and he goes over there. And I park, and I was trying to get some pictures and video. It didn't work. But that one had a leg missing. So he was kind of lumbering. And then we walked around, and there was another one going fast, a perfectly healthy one. running around the base of the tree and stuff. And then the next day, I guess it was yesterday, Mark goes, "Hey, come here." Whenever he says that, I know it's something interesting. And so we have a kitty.
The dog is licking my toes and
Oh,
it tickles.
she missed you. We have an outdoor kitty. She's already spayed, so don't freak out. But we feed her and water her, and she hangs out. We don't want to let her in because of our boys, but we call her Creamsicle because she's orange also. And she has really taken to Mark. She loves him, so she comes around, and we make sure she has plenty of water, and we feed her, and she. I've talked about her a lot. She's hunting. We've seen her with rodents and stuff in our backyard, and yes, she kills the occasional bird, but she's very old and she looks very frail. But she's still killing it. Anyway, we have a little water dish for her, and so he called me out, and there floating in the water was a big 3-inch long Palo Verde borer. Yeah, dead, of course. But so anyway, I took pictures and I sent them to my friend, the executive assistant at Phoenix Symphony, and her boss, our CEO, who are both brand new to the Valley. And I was like, "Welcome to Arizona. I forgot to tell you about these guys, just in case."
Did
They
you
won't
tell
bite you.
Did you tell them about watching for their
Yes, I
batteries?
sure did. I sure did. I was like, and speaking of which, guess what I did today?
What?
Replaced the battery. Because actually, I've been meaning to get my oil changed forever. It's so bad. I was going to get it changed before we went in June to take Hannah, and I didn't. And it's still, what is this, July something. So it's been like 2 more extra weeks, and I was already late. Sorry, car. Anyway, so this morning I'm laying in bed. I'm like, hey, I bet they have time today. So I called the car place, and I was like, can you take my car today? And so they took it in. I took it in, but as I was starting the car in the driveway, I went to start the car, and the way it sounded, Mark pointed at me, and because he was going to follow me in his car, and he goes, "You need to ask them to check your battery because it sounds like it's about to go." And sure enough, he called it, and so we got a new battery. Oh, but here's a fun fact. I got my battery changed, so I get in the car, and you know how batteries, when you replace them, there's always kind of something funky, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe your radio stations are whacked out, and those stayed. But I get in, and we turn the car on, and the air's hot, right? So you want to lower the windows to let the heat out of the car. And I pushed on the automatic, the automatic window, how you just push it once and it goes all the way down or up. Mm-hmm. It didn't work. And Eli's trying his, and it doesn't go. It goes down.
Did they accidentally turn on the child lock?
No, it goes down, but it will only go down while you're holding. It doesn't go all the way down, right? The automatic all the way down, the automatic all the way up. So I was like, it has to have something to do with electricity, with the reset of the battery, whatever. And I learned something new today. I just called from the car. I'm like, hey, I'm out in the parking lot, and I'm sure it has because of the battery, but this isn't working. And he goes, oh yeah, okay, so here's what you do. And I didn't know this. You hold the window button down until it goes all the way down, and then you count to 3. And then you raise the window, and when it's all the way up, you count to 3. And you keep holding the button. And then it works. It's like a on and off. I didn't know that. So I guess maybe if you did it again, it would turn it off if you don't like that feature. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I did it on all 4 windows, and now it's back.
One thing.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
One thing I didn't realize until I just I don't know what I did. I was my Honda Accord. I bought it. It was a used car. I bought it was like just a year old or whatever. But anyway, I don't know what. I was at church, and I was getting ready to leave, but a friend of mine was there, and I was going to talk to him about something, and so, but I wanted to leave the windows open or something, I don't know what, I was doing something, but I, accidentally, I don't know, held the button down or something like that, but it opened like all 4 windows.
Oh.
Yeah, it was some kind of feature that if you do whatever, it'll
Oh,
like
wow.
lower all 4 windows or something like that. Yeah, and it was like, I didn't know I could do that, and so I used it all the time. Whenever when I'd park the car, if it was hot outside, I would leave the windows cracked all the way around, but I would leave all 4 of them. And it was like,
Yeah,
it's
I
really
had
nice
no
feature.
idea that was a thing. I didn't know. So now I do. I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Got my car oil changed. But this time I went to so we have a mechanic that we use, like for Mark's car and stuff. But when I bought my car from a dealership, we bought it brand new. And so a lot of the oil changes were free and that kind of thing. And, you're on your maintenance schedule with the dealership for a while, right? But I was like, it is so far because we went all the way, way, way east. So in order to change the oil there, I mean, I guess they probably have Saturday hours. I don't know. But it's so like far. I have to miss a half a day of work at least to go change my oil, and where these guys are so much closer and so easy. I'm like, I'm breaking up with the dealership. I'm tired of driving out there. And these guys are great. They're so great. I really like them. So we're going there. But anyway, I was like, I'm bringing my Mazda to you finally. So, but they're good. So I got that done. So now I'm all set to go back to New Mexico later. And
you were talking about the dead lizard. It reminded me of the time. I don't know. I may have told the story already about the time when Puck almost killed a bird.
yeah,
Yeah.
you did tell me that.
Yeah, that he reached around I had bird feeders, hanging on the little spike things on my balcony, and he was very sneaky because he would always I'd see him try to do this, but this one time I didn't see him because I was in the bathroom, but he would sit there on the balcony, and then he would, because the birds would be on the outside of the bird feeders usually, and so he would reach around on this side of the bird feeder and try to grab a bird. And usually, he by the time he did that, they would fly away. But this particular time, I guess he caught this poor little bird and ran into the apartment with it. And I was sitting on the toilet. Sorry, I used to, because I lived alone, I would just leave the bathroom door open, And so I was sitting there on the toilet, and here comes Puck running in. This is before I had Snug too. He comes running in, and I had a little walkway between my bookcases and my couch, and so he brought the bird, and he's there in that little walkway, and he drops this bird, and had the bird in his mouth, and he drops it, and he's looking at it, and I'm like, and I'm sort of trapped on the toilet, and I'm like, no, and so I'm hurrying up and getting off the toilet. And he's sitting there just watching the little bird, and so I ran over there and tried to get the bird from him, and he grabbed it in his mouth, and he ran, and he was running toward the bedroom, and so I was trying to shut the bedroom door because I didn't want him to go under there. There's the bed and the whatever. I didn't want him to go in there, and if he killed the bird under the bed, I'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
But so I tried to shut the door, but he ran in there. And so I'm like, no. And I ran in there. And fortunately, he did not go under the bed. But I had a shoe rack in the bedroom. And I guess he ran in there and dropped the bird again. And the bird hopped under the shoe rack. And so I grabbed Puck and I threw him in the bathroom and shut the door. And I was like, there, plucking shoes off the shoe rack until I found this poor little bird huddled under there like, ah. And so I grabbed him up and took him to the balcony, and I opened up my hand and he went, whew! And I found little feathers here and there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I saw this video on TikTok or something.
You have a murderous cat.
Where this bird was caught in their house, and so it's like hitting the window, and so they're trying to scoop it and there's an open window right here, so they're trying to scoop it, and with all this noise, if you look out the window, you're focused on the bird, but out the window you see this cat running across the parking lot or wherever outside this house, or apartment or whatever, and you know the window is kind of low, maybe 3 feet off the ground, and the cat's coming, like, what's going on? And the cat's trotting across, and those people don't even notice, and they scoop and scoop and scoop, and they finally scoop the bird to the open window, and the bird flies out, and that cat just whoop. It's like, oh no.
It's like the
Kind of like that
Thanks.
bunny that commercial with the little girl, let's go with a bunny, and then you hear an eagle.
No.
there's that time I got a hummingbird in my apartment, and you know that fortunately I had just read about, you know, like people get them in their garages a lot of times because of there's if you have an automatic garage
You mean
opener,
like we did?
yeah, if you have an automatic garage opener, they have a safety handle, you know, so you can open or shut the garage door with this safety
And then
handle.
red, yeah.
Yeah, and it's red, and so the birds will see it. A lot of times, the hummingbirds especially will see it and think that it's a feeder or a flower, and so they'll fly in, and then they can't fly out because they're you know, bird logic, like bugs or something, that they may fly down to get in, but then they don't think to fly down to get out. They try to fly this way, and that's what this hummingbird did in my apartment, and then like he was of course trying to get out the window, and every time he hit the window, he'd leave a little dot there of moisture.
One time this
you know.
bird, we have these tall windows in our house, and like we have curtains across most of it, but there's a what's that called?
Like a
Trapezoid?
transom?
No, it's the shape. It's
Uh-huh.
it's like a square, but one corner's higher. What's that called? Trapezoid?
Yeah.
Not a trapezoid, because trapezoids are like that, right? I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's a 4-sided shape. Anyway, so birds run into that a lot. And all of a sudden I hear bonk, right? And I look, and there's a perfect imprint.
Yeah.
With the feathers and everything of the bird.
I had on my balcony
Poor
door,
birdies.
I would get, you know, doves and pigeons, and not so much pigeons, but a lot of doves on my balcony. And one time I had noticed on the balcony door, you know, because you know most of the time it was closed, but on the balcony door it was glass, and on the outside of it was an imprint like that of a dove, you know, totally
perfect shape.
With the feathers and the wings.
You should have painted it from the other side. So it's funny because when we were pulling in here, there was a whole flock of birds over on the house at the end of the circle, and one of them was a grackle. Those are those like big black birds that are around, and it looked horrible, and I was like, that bird looks like it's on crack. Like it was like all greasy, and like the feathers were, because we get those, there's an alley right by our office, and the pigeons that hang out there because there's restaurants, you know, and they probably, you know, throwing out their grease or whatever, and those birds will get into it. They all look all greasy, and my boss calls them crack pigeons because they just look awful. They're all greasy and gross, and I was like, is that Greco visiting from downtown? Like, what's he doing here? He came to see his suburban cousins or something.
Probably was checking out Pizza Hut.
Those grackles remind me of dinosaurs, the way they walk around. Not a lot of birds remind me of dinosaurs, but those, I'm like, look at those dinosaurs. They're so weird. But
well, you know that when you were talking about that bird app, when I first after my surgery, when Eve and I had that rental house on Baylor Street, I had put one of my bird feeders out there.
Oh yeah.
And
I remember you got like a woodpecker or something.
Some kind of weird. I don't know if it was. I don't know what it was, because it looked like an oriole. When I looked it up, what I could find was something like a certain kind of oriole, because the regular ones that you think of would be like red and black or red something like that.
Orange and black.
And this one was kind of bright yellow, and I couldn't figure out a match for it exactly.
We were trying to figure out what that was.
Because it only came to the bird feeder once,
because the birds go through here on their migratory paths a lot because we're so far south. We get interesting. Like there's this little bird. It belongs in the water, and I keep looking it up, and I cannot believe it's here. But it's called a plover. It looks like it's got skinny little legs, like you think of like the birds that run around the shores of a lake or water that are and it mostly I see it mostly walking, and it's called a ring-necked plover. I've looked it up, and the peeping that it makes and everything's got a black. It looks like a miniature duck with a pointy without the webbed feet. The shape of it. It looks like a duck, right? But it's gray and it has a ring around its neck like this. But it's too small. It's not a pigeon because pigeons sometimes have rings, right, or doves. But this was a little tiny thing, and I first saw one in our backyard. It was running around, peeping, peep, 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 and then I'd hear another peep, peep, peep. And it turned out there was a baby. I guess it had fallen out of the nest, or I don't know if they nest on the ground. But then they finally found each other, and I was watching the mom out by the tree feeding the baby. And I'm like, what kind of bird is that? And I looked it up, and I'm like, a plover? What would it be doing here? Because they're like water birds. And we have some lakes around, man-made, neighborhood lake kind of things. But I'm like, what are you doing here? And then, so that was in our backyard. And this was years ago. And then around the same time, there's, like, as you leave our neighborhood, there's these washes that go down, and they have grass in them, but they're really actually for rain overflow. There's like chains of them all around, and so sometimes when it rains, those get full of water. But I have seen plovers on that stretch of sidewalk probably for 5 years, like occasional. I'm driving out, and there's one. I'm like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? There's like a lake across the major street from us over there, in that neighborhood, one of those man-made lakes. I'm like, maybe that's why they're around here. But why are you hanging out on this stretch of high? That's like one day it was just a random day.
Palo Verde bugs.
Maybe. No, the Palo Verde bug is almost as big as the plover. But no, one day I remember that Mark's cousin was in town, and we had gone to see her, and we got home, I got home, I don't remember why, I just associate it with that same weekend.
Come on, baby. Come on.
I pulled in the driveway, and walking down the sidewalk, they could have been holding hands, was a duck couple. Just in the middle of Arizona.
I used to go
They're just walking down the side, but they were just like...
I used to go to a doctor's office. I used to go to a doctor's office, and it was on a lake. And there were a lot of ducks. I even saw the baby ducks to the big ducks, and then baby ducks again, right? So those ducks were always walking around, and there'd be like two ducks walking down the sidewalk, and they'd go quack 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 quack. They were having a conversation of some kind.
So cute. But it was like a man and a woman, a man and wife.
Exactly.
Walking down the side. But I mean, that would make sense if there was a lake right there. But there's no lake right here. Like, why are you on this street that I live on? Like, there is no water here. Where are you going? Why are you walking through the neighborhood? Just strolling.
It's like
strolling through.
That one time then, I don't know if it was me and Mom. It was at my apartment there, my second apartment. And that apartment is right across the street from MacArthur Park, and there's a little man-made lake there. And so there's there are geese and ducks and everything there. And but one time my mom and I had come from, Mom was visiting for whatever reason, and we had come from church or something. And as we came in the building, my mom said, "There's a chicken in the building," or something. I think she thought it was a chicken at first, and I'm like, "What? There's a chicken?" And so I went looking and found that it was actually a duck, and it was a mother duck and a baby duck, and the building, I guess one of the front doors was open,
Oh no.
because like as I came in, you could kind of see the sunlight through there, and but it was kind of dark in the hallway or something. Because I remember I couldn't really see well at first, and but this mother duck was like running up and down the hallway. I guess it was like kind of trapped. It, couldn't figure out how to get out,
Aw.
and the baby was like trying to follow it, I guess, or something. And then finally, so I went. I guess maybe I don't know. I kind of chased it out the front door, and it was wandering around the courtyard, I guess, at first. But then I don't know if it's like the law of nature, every man for himself or something. But as soon as it got out, the mother duck took off,
Aw.
and the baby was there in the courtyard. Beep beep beep.
Oh my
And
god.
I was like, I thought
so
there's
sad.
enough neighborhood cats that poor little baby's gonna get eaten or something,
Oh, that's sad. Hold on. That's a nice sad story.
Well, to counteract that, me and this girl in my apartment building rescued a kitten at one time because we were in the courtyard. We were, I guess, come home at the same time or something, and we heard this. We heard this meow.
Oh.
Yeah, this little tiny kitten, and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And so eventually we went down like in the basement because we thought maybe is it down there. So we were like, and we could hear it, but it wasn't in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And so we finally went back out to the courtyard, and it was because what we were hearing in the basement was like through one of the vents,
Uh-huh.
But so there were bushes all around in the courtyard. And he was hiding under the bushes, this little tiny kitten.
Cute.
So she took it home, and I guess she kept it finally.
Well, that's better. That's
Yeah.
a better story than the abandoned duck.
I'm really, 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 really tired.
Yeah, you've had a long week. I am too.
Well, in the bedroom where I was sleeping in, the sun so bright in that room.
So Mark has been trying to get.
So I was up at 5:30.
Mark's been Hi, little dog. Mark's been looking for a sleep mask because he hates the light waking him up. He's like, you need to find me one, and I try to buy one here or there, and it's never right. It's never right. So finally he found one, and the packaging had this dude on it. I'm like, you got that one because it has a dude on it, but it's this big black mask, and it's got like indents for the eyes. And he's like, oh, that's it. So that way the light doesn't disturb him. But yeah, we're gonna go jump in the pool.
Yeah, time to jump in the pool.
It's too
I'm not
hot.
jumping in because I just took a. I
Oh,
just took a bath. I'm
Stop it.
kidding. I'm not gonna get in the.
Okay, good. But I am. So we will see you next week, and next week I will be older. And
You already look it.
Will you be old enough to? Are you old enough to order from the senior menu?
I'm already old enough to
Yeah.
order from the senior menu.
I
Shut
didn't know.
up. You've been that old for a long time. And Eve, no matter
I'm old
how
enough to
old
get the
I
senior
get,
discount at
y'all
this
be
grocery
older
store.
than me. So, yeah, you qualify for a whole nother.
That's right. And I'm happy to take it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we love it when we go to the grocery store and they don't even ask for an ID. They just give us the senior discount.
As Dad would always say, it's better than the alternative. Right?
Yes.
So thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.